It all started in elementary school, like grade two, and I was just sitting on the couch, and it was at night, and I heard of this show called Goosebumps, and it actually did freak me out a lot because I was really interested in how scary it was. It was on around the same time as Are You Afraid of the Dark, which honestly is a lot scarier of a show. Even today, like some of the effects don't hold up in either show, but Are You Afraid of the Dark is a much like scarier show in my opinion. But oh my god, I was actually just really into Goosebumps, you know? So what happened was like eventually like I was so into it, but I didn't know anything. I didn't know much about it. I just wanted to see the show, but there was only one specific episode I really wanted to watch, and that was Night of the Living Dummy 2. Like everything else was okay. I don't want to watch this right now, but I want to watch not Nightmare, Night of the Living Dummy 2. And eventually I did watch it, and I just remember like, okay, I'm ready for this. And then the entirety was like when I watched The Ring with my sister, who was 2 years younger than me. I was hiding behind a table while the show was going on. And I was like, okay, I'm scared. I'm really scared. And then I watched it again a few years later. I'm like, okay. But keep in mind, this this show is more for kids, like the Fang horror. Like it's scary, but it's more scary for kids. Like when I was in grade six, I like to say I used to go to my like elementary school library, and to my surprise, I found out that there were Goosebumps books there. So I'm like, oh my god, there are Goosebumps books here. And so like because they were quick reads, I actually would read a book, like one book in like a day. Like take out a book from the library after school, then go home and just read it after I did homework. At one point, I actually did end up reading two of them in one day. But in my defense, those books are about 100 pages long, over 100 pages long, 100, 200 pages between them. So it's like, yeah, I can do this. So I just remember, like, hell, actually, at one point, I didn't even have to go to the library. I just went to the neighbor across the street who used to live across the street. He had a friend who is my. I had a friend. He has a friend who is another friend of mine who has like most of the Goosebumps books. I'm like, okay. So I just remember one day, me and his little brother just being outside of his front lawn, just reading Goosebumps. Like I don't know why. I just really enjoyed that moment in time. Like me, like just like two guys reading horror books in daylight. This was before the internet, and I can't believe that. And so then eventually I ended up just getting a couple of keeping a couple of books. Um, yeah, that's pretty much it. I still have a couple of Goosebumps books. I was supposed to do an episode of Goosebumps. Wait, no. I actually did a couple of Goosebumps episodes, but they were taken down by YouTube, so they're on my Vimeo channel. Um, yeah, they were on my Vimeo channel, and they're actually pretty. They're not great, but they're more riff videos. And yeah. Anyway, like Goosebumps, like they when I was in grade six, they never scared me. They were entertaining, but they never scared me at all. It was just like a couple of books that actually just brought back quality, in my opinion, quality. Like this was during that the only Goosebumps books were the first 63, and then I pretty much dropped off when that Goosebumps 2000 thing came about. And I'm like, okay, I'm good. I'm just good. Just leave it as you do your thing, R.L. Stein. I'll just do my thing with your other books that you've written. Most of the ones you wrote, some of them were ghost written with your name on it, but you know, whatever. Not everybody can do 63 books, like one book a month for 63 books. Yeah, that is pretty odd. I mean, well, I mean, yeah, come to think of it, that is pretty odd having one author do one book a month for 63 books. That's actually pretty. Uh, I mean, I still have some of the books. Oh, and another thing, I actually did at one point join a Scholastic book order where I would get for every month I would get three new Goosebumps books. Like it came with the first three, and then like there was this small bookcase where I can actually put them in. And I remember the next month I was waiting for those three Goosebumps books, but they never showed. They never ever showed. I'm like, oh God, come on! My parents actually paid like the money for this to come here, and it never showed. Like I was so disappointed. I was like, and then eventually I got over it a year later, but I was just so disappointed, and so I kind of grew out of Goosebumps for a while because I just wanted to have something more adult. You know, like Stephen. I was like, I wonder who the Stephen King guy is, and I just went from there. I kind of stopped giving a crap about Goosebumps. I mean, occasionally I'll read Goosebumps, but it's like, yeah, my time with it is done. And then eventually the Goosebumps movie came about with Jack Black, and I was kind of still uninterested because, what's old is new again apparently. So what happened was I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go watch this, and I was surprised how much I kind of liked it. I kind of liked the Goosebumps book. Apparently there's a second Goosebumps book, not with Jack Black, but someone else, and I'm like, I'm not interested in it. Maybe if they did a sequel to Captain Underpants, because I liked that movie a little bit more. Don't get me wrong, I liked the Goosebumps movie, but I kind of Captain Underpants was there for me first, and then Goosebumps, and then Goosebumps came back, and then Captain Underpants came back afterwards. So I was like, yeah, yeah, whatever. And so yeah, that's pretty much how I kind of got into Goosebumps. Just constantly reading. Like again, like this was back when I was a real horror hound. Like I have more variety now. Like reading like documentaries and just young adult novels or biographies or even like LGBTQ stories or books or whatnot. But I was a really big horror hound, and that's how come Goosebumps came into my life. Like it started out, it actually came to me back when I just wanted something that could scare me, and it did scare me. Not really, actually. Again, you Are You Afraid of the Dark was actually much more scarier, but on the whole, it actually is very entertaining. They are very entertaining. Flawed, yes, but very entertaining. But it actually got me started in the whole like getting into horror thing. And I actually really want to say thank you, Rothstein, for just getting me on that track. And I hope people who actually watch, or are horror hounds at a young age, just like get into your books, R.L. Stein. Just get into your books and then go off from there. Because like after Goosebumps, I was into Fear Street, and then I was into the Nightmare Room. So yeah, you kind of like wrote up my horror childhood, like horror like childhood. So again, thank you, Stein, for like getting me into like this book series, which has a lot of variety. They weren't that scary even then, but they were very entertaining, and it actually inspired me to write horror stories at a young age. I kind of got away from that a little bit because I kind of grew out of it. Not by much. I do like horror, but I can't write horror. But I I just didn't want to be that pigeonholed. I mean, I know you didn't get pigeonholed. I mean, you did that cadets book, which I still have. I think that's Space Cadet, but whatever. Um, but thank you, thank you for writing these Goosebumps books. Even though like there was a small time period between when I was in grade 6 and in grade 8, where you inspired me to write horror, and it actually inspired me to become a little bit of a not a little bit of a writer, but writing something. So thank you for that, Mr. Stein, and that's gonna do it for how I got into Goosebumps. If you have anything, like I'm gonna put another poll eventually of what I am, like if you want me to talk about how I got into anything else, whether it's music or books or cartoons, that's what I'll do. And until then, thank you for watching, and I will hopefully explain a lot more soon. You know, videos like this, and I'm rambling. So thank you, and I will see you another time.